top 5 decks for March 2021. We got a new list here. We have actually events this weekend. So we're going to give the rough, concrete foundation for what I think we're going to expect out of this weekend's events and so forth. So if you're looking to play this weekend, this is what my early tier list is going to look like. So make sure you guys smash the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more excellent discussions like this. And let's dig on into that bad boy, shall we? Number 1 on our list here is going to be Virtual World, and these are in no like super particular order. So Virtual World, later on this afternoon, I'm going to have a breakdown of a Virtual World list. It's pretty much doing what Sam was doing in his initial videos. It's basically the current idea or phrase that players are kind of looking towards at this point in time for the build. But with that being said, though, Virtual World did lose Tricking of All Calamities, which means that players started to head on over to the back end at this point in time and started cooking up other cool ideas. And amongst those other ideas, we got like Ultimaya Tzolk'in now. We can make Money Mud Dragon and make Dragoon in the deck now, which gives you like 2 negates and a Chuchi interruption, which the deck does have a little bit more issues playing through multiple levels of hand traps now, but that's not stopping players at this point in time playing this deck. And I think it does leave some distaste in some players' mouths looking at this and going, well, does it really deserve to be in the top 5? And I still think that the combos that this deck can generate, these fields that you can still see, like a Dragoon, a Chuchi, and a Crystal Wing is not something that a lot of decks are going to have an easy time dealing with. All right, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, Kaiju does mess that up. To a degree, you still have to deal with the Crystal Wing, and you're still going to have to deal with, you know, the Chuchi, but that's fine. And obviously, like, the deck's overall recovery plays that it has going for it are really good. Like, as long as you can end on, like, a Lulu or something else in your hand to follow up for the next turn, that way you can start additional combos. You're a little bit more of a, oh, I blew my load, our job is done deck now. But I still think that ending on, like, a big board like that still puts you in a good position, all things considered, all right? Number 2 on our list here is Bird Up, Brigade, the engine. Now, a lot of you guys remember that some more get touched on the list. Well, of course, they were going to touch Brigade at all. It's too relatively new for this. So you still end on the exact same stuff that you were last format, which is what? It's Double Dragon Lords, Barrier Statues, some more, depending on the build or what you opened up with, which is fine. Alright, and I think that this deck did get the chance to wiggle on up into like 1.5 to tier 1. I'm not quite sure where I want to put it at yet in there, but you have to remember that this deck's overall game plan is still the exact same. Alright, is the deck going to struggle with some of the other decks in the format? Yes, to a degree. I do think that overall some of the issues that are still present in today's format is going to be an issue for you. Good news for you, I mean, Dinosaurs is going to have a little bit of an issue dealing with your Barrier Statue play, which is probably your best play going forward, like, to be honest with you. As long as you can establish Mr. Barrier Statue, you probably will win 95% of the time. Downside is now that hand traps smash back into the format here. I'm actually expecting super high representation and return of hand traps back into today's metagame. And quite honestly, I think a lot of players are not going to be happy seeing the return of like Imperm back into the metagame. I do think that seeing the return of hand traps such as Imperm will actually delay the general progress of this deck, because Imperming the guy to special summon for the banish is just going to hurt this deck a whole lot more. Like, be honest here, alright? Like, you're going to run into all kinds of crazy issues. You'll be like, I can come. No. It's like, oh, Imperm just ruined my day. So, we'll have to wait and see about that. Number 3 on our list here is Eldritch. Now, this should not shock any of you, all right? Like, you got to be lying to me if you're sitting here going, oh, well, Eldritch isn't a viable deck this format. What do you mean Eldritch isn't a viable deck this format? All right, Eldritch just got the biggest return of its life here. Alright, the deck that bullied it, Tricking of All Calamities, it's gone. Alright, we don't have to deal with it anymore. Alright, like, thankfully, Konami took care of that. Now, Eldritch is the grindiest deck in the format, and I mean that, like, wholeheartedly. Like, the problem with Eldritch existing in the top, though, is every other back row deck, like, is just going to be oppressed by this. Like, in terms of, like, Rogue Stun, Altergeist, both get bullied out of the room because Eldritch is lurking around in the top spectrum. So, this deck, as an engine, I do think that Zoo Brigade is going to make a big return right now. Or, excuse me, Zulich is going to make a big return. I think that Zulich is probably going to be the biggest variant running around right now. Because what? Zeus plus Eldritch Spells and Traps is the best thing that we've ever had going for it. You'll probably see Invoked as well running around to some degree. I'd be really surprised to not see Invoked run around. Sad thing is we did lose Eldritch Numeron on the list, which... it is what it is. I know a lot of players where they loved that deck, and I feel that. But at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. So, expect at least a couple of Eldritch variants running around to some degree. How they're going to develop for the format, I think, will determine how the other decks at the dinner table kind of react to this. So, number 4 here is going to be Dinosaurs. So... one brought up a really interesting point to me that we're basically got Stone Aged back to where we were, what was it, a format or two ago, with Dragon Link running around and Dinosaurs being the secondary competitive deck. It was basically Dinosaurs and Dragon Link kind of going at it back and forth. And that's where, like, everybody's hate for Misk came from at this point in time. So what happens when we get that fresh throwback into that format? Well, that's kind of where we are right now. Alright, yes, Zulich is here. Yes, we have Tri-Brigade. Yes, we still have, you know, VW shenanigans. But those decks are a little bit more vulnerable to hand traps besides Eldritch. Which puts us at the interesting point of, well, Dinosaurs can interact and stop Eldritch. Eldritch can interact and stop Dinosaurs. It depends on how the fields open up. But I think as of making this video... Dinosaurs are very consistent. I mean, Animadors had a price increase for a reason, right? So, looking at where some of these boards are going to end, some of this general development in the metagame here, Ultimate Conductor, go Burr. Alright, so if you're planning to play, do keep an eye out right now. I think the Dinosaurs playability has gone astronomically up from where it was. Does it put it as, like, God tier, end-all, be-all? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. Is it something that you're going to have to deal with? Is it something that your dear old friend Miscellaneous Boy is going to ruin some days? Yes, of course he is. Alright, but at the end of the day, Dinosaurs got that supreme push back up into Tier 1, and it looks like, well, we're going to have to deal with this for a little while longer. So, buckle up, buckaroo. It's Dino season. Alright, and the last deck I have for you guys for this video is Dragon Link. Now, if you're sitting here going, well, Robbie, Dragon Link doesn't have Buster Lock. Yeah, a lot of people last format that were, you know, the quote-unquote good players were talking about Dragon Link being the best deck. We are heading on into this now. You can bet your bet, but now that True King is gone, Dragon Link's going to storm back in here, and it's going to do its thing. Chambers are probably one of the most stable cards for this deck, and look what happened to their price tag at this point in time. So, Dragon Link is evolving. April, we get the Dragoonity cards from the structure deck built into Ghosts from the Past. The power-up for this deck that's coming in the future here is coming. This deck's extenders, by the way, like, the amount of extending capabilities that this deck can pull out of its butt is nuts, man. Alright, like, one good summon and you're off to the races, alright? So, you just gotta find the good optimal choke point, and, we'll see how many hand traps this deck can play through, because I'm not sure if Nibiru is going to return back as a main deck stay yet. I'm kind of curious to see if that's going to be the option here. But it's going to depend on where this deck sits in the top, depending on what hand traps enter back into the fray, what the most optimal means of stopping this deck is, and pretty much just so forth there. So I am expecting Imperm to probably make a comeback right now, but I'll have to wait and see. So, what do you guys think about your top 5 for this beautiful list, guys? Leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more excellent content. I hope you guys have a good rest of your Saturday. Peace out, guys. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCool40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCool40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcoolgames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.